I walked in, and there she was, my beautiful wife, the woman I once adored, locked in an embrace with another man. The room was heavy with secrets, every detail a blade in my heart. In that moment, everything changed. The love I had for her twisted into something darker, something deadly. I didn't just lose a wife that night, I lost myself. But she's going to lose everything. This isn't just a tale of betrayal. It's a descent into the abyss where love dies and vengeance takes its place.
Hi, darling. How was your day? I made dinner for you. It's in the refrigerator. I have to go now. I'm meeting my friends to go shopping. The shopping center is open until 9, so I'll probably be back by 9:30 or so. Kiss me. I love you, she said, then quickly left the house, got into the car, and drove away. And let me guess, you'll come back without any shopping bags, go straight to the shower, and avoid my questions about who was there and if you bought anything. Then you'll head to bed because you're too tired. No affection for the next few days, either. You used to go shopping every month or so, but now it's every couple of weeks, usually on Wednesday nights. And still no packages. She probably thinks I'm completely clueless. Maybe she really is with her friends. Maybe not. She's wearing regular clothes, nothing fancy or new. If she had a special date, I'd expect her to dress differently. But what if she keeps different clothes in her car? It doesn't matter. After 3 years of marriage, maybe she just needs some time for herself during the week. All the magazines say it's important to take time for yourself. If you don't care for yourself, you can't care for anyone else, they say. But it feels like nonsense to me. We talk, we laugh, we do things together, and we say, I love you all the time. We kiss each other every morning and say goodbye. On the weekends, we always do something fun together. It doesn't make sense. How can we seem so close when it feels like she's hiding something from me? But tonight, I'll find out what's really going on. I hope she's actually shopping. I can't believe how much I care about her. Even the thought of her with someone else tears me apart. Here come the tears again, and this terrible pain. I can't keep living like this. If she's betraying me, the pain will be much worse than just suspicion, but I have to know. I have to know no matter what. How does that old song go? Suspicion is tearing me apart or something like that. And here it begins to destroy our relationship. It's winter and it's already dark. An hour has passed. Let me check where her phone is. Damn, it's at a place called Lover's Leap. There's a steep drop there, at least 150 meters. Shopping isn't great around there. People only go there for one thing. He collapsed on the floor. Oh God, why? I thought we were doing well. She never complained about anything. His chest felt like it was going to burst. How could she do this to me? To us? He thought. All right, I need to pull myself together and find out who is more important to her than me. He decided to get in his truck. It was only about 15 minutes away. He left his phone at home and decided to find a movie to watch as an alibi if anything went wrong. Maybe his beloved wife and her friend would take a shortcut down the hill. It would serve them right after betraying his trust and their wedding vows. I can't stop thinking about her with someone else, he thought. I have nothing left to live for. Maybe it's better to spend the rest of my life in prison. If I don't have the courage to confront them, maybe driving down the hill with them isn't a bad idea. I read about murder-suicides all the time. It's probably better than prison. God, how I loved her for so long. We've known each other since childhood, but we only started dating seriously in my last 2 years of college. Even though she stayed home and worked, I chose to stay here after college because I had some great job offers nearby. She moved in with me a week after I graduated, and we got married 6 months later. Yes, we got married in the heat of the moment, but we were best friends first and knew everything about each other. That's the problem. We were best friends. How could she do this to a friend? To me? He turned off his headlights as he drove up a hill. I don't want to scare them off, he thought. He carefully drove around a bend and saw his brother's van. First, my wife betrayed me. Now Bo has too. Please, Lord, let this be a nightmare. He quietly but urgently approached the van. He could hear their voices. His wife, Sam, was talking to Bo and Rex. She mentioned that she was worried he might start to suspect something, but she also said that she enjoyed her time with them. Why are we doing this, Sam, if you care about him? One of them asked. I don't know, she replied. We started this back in school and it continued for years, even while he was in college. Even when we were supposed to be exclusive, I just couldn't stop. It became a habit, and I still need you both from time to time. It's different from being with Ian. The biggest break we had was when I moved in with him and then married him. I love him, I really do, but I got that urge again and we started this up again, remember? And all this time, he never suspected a thing. Maybe it's true what they say about love blinding you. He was and still is. Well, sometimes I feel guilty, but it's just so much fun. I hate to give it up, but this is the end. I'll be the most faithful wife in the world now. Ian already thinks I'm off the pill and we're trying for a baby, but I didn't want to risk either of you getting me pregnant. My baby would look too different. You two will have to find real girlfriends if you want to keep this up. Maybe that's why he got suspicious. We were only doing this once every couple of months, but I wanted one last time. But like I said, he's been acting weird lately, so I'll have to make it up to him and never do this again. Or at least not for a while after I find out I'm going to have a baby. What did you say to him? What are you up to? Shopping? Well, maybe he's just upset about everything you bought. Oh no, oh no, oh no. I didn't bring any of it home. I can't believe I messed this up. No wonder he's acting suspicious and grumpy. Okay, I have to finish this. I need to get to Walmart to buy something. Almost everything will be closed soon. It's close to 9. If he gets suspicious, he will go wild. But he loves me so much. I'll agree to counseling and do whatever it takes to keep him around before things go bad. The brothers looked at each other. They knew if they got caught, there would be no forgiveness for any of them. He was ready to break the door off the van and confront all three of them. His anger was replaced by a deep feeling of bitterness. Betrayal. Traitors. You will all pay for this. He quietly ran back to the truck. I knew this would come in handy. He attached a blanket to the front of the truck. I hope it doesn't get scratched. He switched on the 4-wheel drive. And just a moment. Let me make a couple of calls on the other phone. Hi, Mom. Is Bo there? I need to talk to him quickly. No, John. He and Rex went to the gym. They'll be back in about an hour. They don't usually stay long. Why not call later? Maybe around 9 o'clock? Okay, it's fine. I can talk to him tomorrow. Let me call someone else. Hi, Helen. Mom, is Sam there? I'm trying to find her to ask something. What is she doing talking to her dad outside in the dark? No, everything is okay. I'll just talk to her when she's home. It's nothing important. Good evening. Sorry to bother you. I feel betrayed by my wife, my brothers, and even my mother, and let me guess. Her mother knew too. He nodded. But Helen believed you would be good for her and that she could change. But when she didn't change, he raised his hand. I think they went to my house first before coming here. I have to go. He leaned forward and kissed her forehead. She jumped a little at his touch. Mom, thank you for everything you've done for me. I will always love you for this, but you have betrayed me in the worst way. I will always feel hurt because of this. No, Ian, please. You have to understand. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What can I do to make this right? Nothing, Mom. Nothing. We are so far gone, there's no fixing this. I'm leaving. You, Dad, and my brothers will never see me again. Don't try to find me. If I see any of you again, I can't promise I won't react badly. Goodbye. Ian, please. You can't leave like this. You have to understand. She fell to her knees, crying, covering her face with her hands. Her husband entered. What is happening here? Are you okay? Did he hurt you? It's worse. Much worse. He found out about Sam and the boys. Because of them, we've lost our son. We will never see him again. What were we thinking? What did we do? He got out and drove to Sam's parents' house. He knocked on the door. John, what are you doing here? Sam isn't home. I know, Helen. She's with my brothers. You were going to tell me that, right? Shock filled her face. The moment she had feared for years had finally arrived. She always thought that if this happened, she could convince him it would be okay. But one look in his eyes told her that nothing could be said to make it better. The marriage was over. It was all over. Why did she ever believe it was okay to keep this from him? Helen looked into his angry, empty eyes. My God, what have we done to this poor guy? She began to cry and held out her hands, asking for forgiveness. Pain and fear filled her. Helen, you knew this all along. You could have told me at any time in these last 5 years. But not only did you stay quiet, you supported her. So this is how things are. Thank you for all the good things you and your husband have done for me and for welcoming me into your family. And I blame you all for not telling me. You could have stopped this. You could have saved us all from this pain, but now it's too late. I'm leaving for good. I will never speak to you or Sam again. All communication will go through my lawyer. Don't try to find me. Tell Sam that if I ever see her again, I will finish what I started tonight. There will be no forgiveness, no meetings, no going back. It's all over. You can tell her that. I heard her talking in the van, and I thank her for telling my brothers that at least I wasn't a failure in our marriage. I appreciate it, but all I remember is my brothers being with her. She won't be able to change that. Tell her to be happy. Please give her my phone number and my wedding ring. Clearly, it meant a lot more to me than to her, or to any of you. Goodbye. He hung up the phone and walked out the door. Helen just stared after him. Oh, this poor guy. A few seconds later, the phone rang. Shaking herself from her thoughts, she answered, "Ian? Oh, Ian. Thank you for answering. I am so sorry. I need to talk to you. I have to explain. Please, where are you? Jan? Oh no, Jan! What have I done to you? Me? Sam! Sam, this is your mom!" Ian came in. He left his phone and his wedding ring. He said he is leaving and will never see us again. Mom? No. I have to talk to him. I need to fix this. There is no way to fix this. You should have seen him, Sam. He looked broken, like someone who had lost everything. It was scary. Are you okay, Mom? He almost pushed us into the deep end. You deserve it. But we all deserve it. Why don't you come home, honey, and we'll try to sort it out? He made it clear that the marriage is over. Her mother heard a cry of sadness when Sam hung up. Well, they're probably going to Helen's. I think he will stay there for a while. I will go home, gather my things, and leave. If I drive to the highway, I can find a hotel far from here, far enough so they won't find me, if they even look at all. Then it's back to work for me. There are a lot of tasks ahead, bank transfers, credit cards, and a new bank account for my paycheck. Tomorrow I'll tell my boss I'm quitting. I plan to set up a meeting with a lawyer online. Finally, I need to figure out where to go next. What was that song? Heads or tails? Should I go to California or North Carolina? It's confusing being in North Carolina. I'm not sure I want to go to California. Maybe somewhere in the middle. Perhaps I will visit the Rocky Mountains later. Who says small towns don't need a tech expert? 2 years in computer services and it's so busy that now I can finally say, forget it, I'm taking a break. Just a short one, though. It's nice here, and I like living in this friendly place. In about 15 to 20 minutes, I can be hiking in the mountains without any crowds. I've always loved that kind of hiking. It can be tough walking into the forest, mostly uphill, but the reward is coming back down. It feels much better than climbing back up after going down. You've heard about those trails in the Grand Canyon? They go down, and then you have to climb back up. No thanks. But man, 2 years have gone by, and I can't shake the memories in my head, same scenes playing over and over. Why can't I start fresh, be emotionless? When will the anger, pain, and feeling of betrayal from those I cared about pass? How could I have been so naive? I must have done something wrong. I shouldn't have let it get this far. My mind is overwhelmed with all these feelings. How do I stop this? My work helps, but only a little. I knew it wouldn't be easy since I cared for her so much. The noise in my head never stops. What if I can't move on? What if I'll never feel okay? Every time it's quiet, the memories become clearer. Drinking only makes me cry and feel worse in the morning. I won't consider other kinds of substances. Instead, I work hard and keep training until I'm tired, hoping that when I close my eyes, I can actually sleep. But that never happens. Each night is the same. This therapist was useless, and I refuse to take pills that numb my feelings. What kind of life would that be? But sometimes I think this life isn't really that great either. Will I ever be able to feel happy or even smile from the heart again? Can my heart ever heal enough to let someone bring me joy again? Thanks for the memories, Sam. I bet she's gone on with my brother since I left. She probably forgot about me by now. Great, here I am again, ruining a nice hike in the woods. Just perfect. So much for taking a break and dealing with my loneliness. How can I be alone with all these thoughts crowding my mind? I don't get it. Okay, stop. Good job at ruining your favorite hike. Maybe I should just turn back. I didn't pay attention to the birds or the trees. I didn't enjoy anything. 2 full days of dwelling on the past. Maybe I should pause and try that meditation again. Now calm your mind. Repeat your words of peace. Reject any thoughts that come. Breathe deeply. Forget it. This isn't working either. I want to just eat something and head back down. Wait, what's that? I felt the same odd feeling I had just before I crashed into the van. How strange. What was that sound? It sounded like a rock being thrown or something. Maybe it just moved as the sun warmed it. No, wait, is that a person? It sounds like someone is calling for help. That can't be good. It's coming from a path somewhere, but I can't see anything. Fine. I won't lose anything by checking it out. I was about to turn around when I decided to explore. I looked for a safe way down and climbed over some rocks left from an old landslide. They felt shaky underfoot. Finally, I reached the bottom and saw a girl lying on her back in the mud. Oh no, she looks really bad. Her eyes are closed. I heard a faint sound. Help! I shouldn't be able to hear this. Hey, are you okay? I asked. She opened her eyes. Who? What? Wow! She exclaimed. I dreamed a handsome man on a horse would come to save me. Instead, I get an ugly giant. What? I said, trying to make light of it. Does this mean I'm in trouble too? I'm sorry for the things I've done. I'm trying to be better. Please let me live so I can prove it. She reached out and touched my hand. You're real. Those arms, that hairy chest. But those blue eyes are beautiful. At least part of her dream came true. Yet I could see pain and anger in her eyes. Well, the ugly giant is here to help, ma'am. You look hurt, I said with a smile, trying to lighten the mood. Actually, my legs are fine. I'm a ballet dancer in a competition and was just practicing my pose. You know how they stand and point their toes to the side? Is this first or second position? I've been lying here for days, freezing with no food, water, or bathroom. And I'm the one who says she looks hurt? Do you need some water? I offered cheerfully. Sure, she frowned. Here, drink as much as you want. I can always grab more from the stream, I said with a grin. You can't just drink from a stream, she replied, looking shocked. Didn't your mother teach you any better? The words made him shudder again. The water is full of germs. I could easily get sick from it. Luckily, I have a filter and some chlorine tablets. Double trouble, but please don't drink so much that you're sick. Okay, oh my gosh, this is so good. She smiled at him. I'm ready for a prince. He guessed food wouldn't be the main topic. First, let's wrap you in my sleeping bag. Hey, watch where your hands go. Sorry, just getting ready for nature survival. What? From YouTube? He laughed. No, a real course. How about some peanut butter? Extra crunchy, of course, on bread. Oh, I've been lying here for 2 days, starving and dreaming of food, and you're sending me a peanut butter jar? No jelly, just peanut butter? So you plan to hike for 4 or 5 days with just a jar of peanut butter? No protein bars or snacks? He shook his head, holding up the loaf of bread. And it's super crunchy and a giant jar, too. Was I really that bad off without a prince and now without jelly? Okay, let's go. 6 servings? Can you make them yourself? She nodded. So how did you hurt yourself so badly and break your legs? I was pushed. Really? Yes. Some raccoon or something came up behind me and pushed me over. I was watching 2 cute marmots. Do you know how young animals start their games in the spring? But now it's autumn, so it was probably a goodbye until spring. Anyway, they went away and I stepped onto a rock to see better. The next thing I knew, I was on the ground. My legs got stuck, and when I pulled, they made some gross sounds. Not fun at all. I wouldn't recommend it. 1 star at most, right? Now let me check you over. Nice bruises on your face. Is your head okay? Can you see? How does your mouth feel? What if something's really wrong? I don't know. That's what the next course is for. I still have to learn it. But I'm starting to worry about you, lifeguard. Maybe I should wait a couple more days for the next class to show up. Let's see. A, B, C, eat, breath, eat, circulation. Yes, Houston, we have a pulse. No, wait, that's not from the course. She rolled her eyes and he smiled. And deliver us from trouble, for thine is the kingdom. First, we should probably take off your boots and check your feet. No, don't touch them. You clearly didn't pass your YouTube course. If they were really bad, it would be too late to help. Plus, they're swollen and need some air. All right, sounds logical, but they're so puffy, we have to loosen them at least. She agreed. Much better. Thank you, Ogre. I should have thought of that before I fell asleep. Now we need to move your pants down. No, no, don't even think about it. Get away from me. Don't touch me or else... I think screaming won't help. I'll hit you with this rock or use my karaoke moves. Karate? What? Maybe a mixed martial art. She started to cry. I know I can't stop you, but please don't. I'm already in so much pain. Just, please help me. Tears filled her eyes as she hid her face in her hands. He raised his hands. No, no, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. Relief washed over her face. So you're saying I'm not just the prettiest girl you've ever saved? No, that's not it. I think you might be a little full of yourself. Is that why no animals were curious about me? No, I really want to check for cuts or anything worse. What if I just tear my favorite pants instead? No, don't worry. I don't think you're seriously hurt. I can't imagine what you're thinking about. You're truly not interested? Honestly, not really. She stared at him for a moment. You must have a good reason to help. He sighed. Look, it's been a tough time for me too. How long has it been? He winced, looking away. About 2 years. Her expression changed. Sorry, is that why you're here alone? Yeah, but I'm okay. Just hard remembering. So, my rescuer, how are you going to save me? Wait, what's your name again, big guy? Ian. Nice to meet you, Ian. We need to stop meeting like this. She laughed a little. I'm Sam. His eyes widened and sadness washed over his face. Oh no, your name. Is that a bad thing? He hesitated. No, maybe give it another name. What about Ellie? Is that okay? He nodded and wiped away a tear. Now that the formalities are over, how can I help you? Where is your horse? I'm not a prince, but I can carry you. It will take 2 days. I know you're strong, but you can't do this alone. Ellie, listen. There is no way you can manage it by yourself. Even with ATVs, it will take time for the rescue team to reach you. I'm sure you won't want to eat peanut butter again after this, and that would be a shame. Just try not to eat or drink too much on the way back. They both laughed. I promise. How about one of those stretchers? We can make one and you can pull me. Mr. Forrester, I'm sure you learned how to handle this. Yes, I did, but it would be tough. All right. It's time for the truth, Ian. The animals scared me and I couldn't move much. I had an accident, and I can't ask you for anything like that. What about your special place? Does it smell? She smiled. Of course not. Not my special place. It's just behind it. Another reason to help clean you up. We can wash you and I will clean your clothes. Please, Ian. No, please. As you said, miss, we ogres are eager to help. Do you have a backpack? I did, but I took it off when I fell. I heard an animal carrying something away. I didn't see it upstairs, but we can look again, so why don't I pack up my things and help you? I can use those spots to hold you. Then I'll gently lift you onto my shoulders. I'll grab my backpack and see if I can make it up the slope without hurting both of us. Ian, it feels impossible. No problem, I practice. Do you see my muscles? Yes, great. I feel better about it now. Maybe I should just stay here and we can both look the same way when you carry me. He stared at her. Oh, lifeguard, I feel like I'm wasting my best jokes on you. He suddenly laughed. Yes, we'll be seeing the same way. It feels so good to laugh again. It's been a long time. She made him smile. I can't believe after 2 days she's still able to joke around. She truly is special. He packed his things and took some more water. Then he picked her up. She screamed in pain even with the splints on her legs, but she didn't complain. He managed to easily set her on his shoulders and handed her the backpack. What took 15 minutes to go down took almost 2 hours to come back up. He crawled a lot. He was soaked by the time he reached the top. Sorry, Ellie, I'm just as wet as you. Yeah, and you smell worse, by the way. But she patted him on the chest and left her hand there for a while. Ian, you need to stop and rest. No, I'm fine. Your clothes are heavy, but you aren't. If only we could take them off. You're impossible. Just breathe in this fresh mountain air. She tapped him on the head. It smells like a sweaty ogre to me. People say your nose gets used to bad smells. Ian, please do me a favor and just throw me over the edge. I'll wait for the next rescue. She gently tapped him again, but then started to play with his hair. Sorry. It will be easier from here, mostly downhill. It will soon get dark. Can you give me the backpack? He took out his headlamp and held the backpack by the straps as he moved forward. In less than half an hour, he felt she had fallen asleep. Restless sleep. She moaned in pain sometimes as he moved her. God, it must be really painful. She was probably worn out, and half an hour later it became completely dark. He kept walking all night. We need to get as far as we can. I'll stop when she wakes up and wants to take a break. He walked all night, making only short stops. They didn't talk much after that, he just kept going. She admired his strength. She gently touched his dark brown hair and admired the beauty of the forest, wishing she would stop talking. Most of the leaves had already dropped, but many still remained. Mostly, she just looked ahead along the path. Her thoughts wandered as she tried to ignore the pain that grew as her legs dangled. When it became too dark, he had to take a break. They didn't see anyone on the trail. His phone still didn't work. He collected wood and built a small fire in a circle of stones to keep her warm. He found a stream nearby, and even though the water was cold, he took off his clothes, washed himself, and lay in the water. This feels great, he thought. In the dim light, she could see him. Well, Ellie, my clothes are starting to smell just like yours. Do you mind if I wash them and hang them by the fire? I promise I won't walk around without anything on. My underpants are decent, but when you're as big as me, well, you know, I know you probably have an extra pair of socks. There, he laughed. Looks like my secret is out. Actually, I have some somewhat clean clothes I can wear. I have a few t-shirts in my backpack if you want to change. I would love to take off my pants, but I don't know how to do it considering my legs. Let's do it this way. I know you didn't want to, but I have sweatpants in my backpack. What if I cut your pants? She started to complain. I'll give you some water to clean up, and you can put on some sweatpants. I'll cut the seams on your pants so they can be easily fixed. Don't worry, I'll buy you a new pair if it makes you feel better. When we get back and take you to the hospital, I can go to your house and get you more clothes. She looked pained at the thought. She looked heartbroken and started to cry. Ellie, she said, I'm sorry. What did I do wrong? Nothing, Ian replied. It's me. I have no other clothes. I'm left with nothing. She pulled up the sleeves of her sweater to show him her scars. Ian, I used to be addicted to drugs. My mom dropped me off here. We were struggling to get by, but a few years ago she fell into worse habits. I watched her get worse right before me. It felt like she was just fading away. Then she passed away. I didn't even realize it for hours because I was so out of it. That day I decided to quit for good. It was terrible and really hard. I struggled so much. I've been sober for a year now, but I still live in a church shelter. I have a part-time job, but no one wants to hire me. Everyone in these small towns knows my mother. They don't trust me, and I understand why. Moving and starting over takes money, and I just don't have it. So if you want to leave me here, I'll understand. You've already helped me a lot. No way, Ian said firmly. You made a big change. That takes strength. It's a huge achievement. I felt sorry for myself, she whispered. Don't worry, Ellie. I'll help you get back on your feet. No strings attached. He raised his hands to show he meant it. She started to cry again. Why, Ian? Why are you doing this? Because you need help. You need to reach out, and that's what we do in the South, he smiled softly. Then he handed her a pair of sweatpants and a t-shirt. I think these will fit you. Okay. Just give me some water, she replied. He helped her cut her pants to make them fit better, wrapped her in a warm sleeping bag, and handed her clean water from a mountain stream. It's pretty cold, but it's the best I could find. And here's a t-shirt to wash your face with. I'd throw it away after you're done, she laughed. You have a special way with women. They feel important around you. Now, no peeking while I wash, she said playfully. She cleaned herself as best as she could, then put on the oversized sweatpants and t-shirt. Oh, this t-shirt smells like you, Ian. I like it. She hid her undergarments in his backpack. I should get rid of them, but my only other set is in my bag. She fell asleep once he returned. He gathered more firewood and some food, refilled their water, and lay down next to her, making sure she was warm. A few hours later, a noise near them woke him up. He turned on his flashlight and saw a bear. Oh no, that's not good luck, he thought. He jumped up, grabbed a stick from the fire, and moved towards the bear. The bear left, but Ian knew it would come back. It smelled food, especially peanut butter, a favorite for animals. We should leave, he thought. He gently shook Ellie awake, packed up their things, and lifted her onto his shoulders, still wearing the sweatpants. He walked all night, and when dawn broke, they reached the parking lot and his truck. Not bad, a day and a half. Let's get you loaded up and go to the hospital in Dillard. They have a doctor who can help. At the hospital, he explained what happened, and a nurse came out with a wheelchair. They loaded her up and the nurse wheeled Ellie inside while Ian parked the truck. By the time he returned, Ellie was already getting an x-ray, and the nurse approached him with forms to fill out. "You carried her all this time?" the nurse asked in disbelief. "You're a hero." "No, I'm not. I just did what I had to do. She's the real hero. She survived 2 days with broken legs, no food, and then another day and a half on my shoulders." After a while, the doctor came by. "I'm Dr. Jones. I have permission from Ellie to talk to you. She needs surgery right away. Her fractures are quite serious." "But it's her main bone," Ian said. "Yes, we'll try to fix the bigger pieces and put a plate on all the fractures. She has a lot of damage. It looks like she was in a big accident. I'm not sure how she made it this far. Since her situation is delicate, we'll need to use some special equipment to stabilize her until she heals. After the surgery, she will need crutches for a long time and physical therapy. This will take months, but we'll take good care of her." "I promised her no strong pain meds," Ian added. "We talked about that," the doctor replied. "We have other options that should work. If she managed through this much pain, I'm sure she can handle it after surgery. She'll stay with us for a few days, but she can't go back to the shelter." "No problem, doctor. She can stay with me while she recovers. I will help her get better." "Are you sure? You barely know her. That's what people do. Help others in need, right?" The doctor smiled. "Where do you live?" "Near Greenwald," Ian answered. "I run a computer store." "So, you're the one? My wife bought a computer from you. She was really happy with the service and loved her computer. Maybe the hospital could use service like yours. It seems like they are spending a lot of money. Our system is very slow and hardly ever works well, especially in the mornings when we are all using it. I will talk to them about it." "Do you want to see her before her surgery?" "She asked about you." "I hope I'm not bothering you, doctor. Is this okay? I mean, this is just a small hospital, not a famous clinic." "Hi, Ellie. You smell better today, but you still have an odor. You're like a big monster." She started to cry. "I'm scared, Ian. I'm scared of the surgery. He said I won't be able to walk for 4 to 6 months or even longer." Sobbing. "What will I do? Am I going to end up in a nursing home where there are only old, sick people or something worse? I'm really scared. In my past life, I didn't care. Everything was so hard. But now what should I do?" He took her hand. She shivered and tried to pull away. He held on, but then she looked into his eyes and calmed down. "I've thought of a plan. You can move in with me." She shivered again and tried to pull her hand away. "No, Ellie, I mean it. I won't bother you. No strings. You need help, and the doctor said there's no one else. I promise you'll have your own room. I'll sleep on the sofa. Everything will be okay. When you feel better, you can help out at my store. You always wanted to be the employee of the month, right? And if you're uncomfortable, I'll sleep in the office or wherever you prefer." She just stared into his eyes. Who is this guy? Would you really do this for me? Why? Why are you helping me? No one has ever done anything for me, not ever. Her eyes filled with tears again. He handed her a tissue. "So the plan is this. I'll stay with you until your surgery starts. Then I'll go home, clean up the apartment, get some food, and be back by the time you're in your next room. Does that sound good? Or at least I hope it will work. But I really don't want you to go through this. Yes, I really must. I can't just leave you, Ellie. Maybe it will help me forget my own problems, too." She squeezed his hand. "Thank you, big guy, and thank you for saving my life. You've helped me in many ways." She smiled. "Just no more peanut butter." He chuckled. "Wait until you try my peanut pie. I take one of those pre-made crusts and melt some peanut butter in it." "Enough! You're making me sick!" They both laughed just as the operating room staff arrived to take her away. He wished her luck and kissed her on the forehead. She flinched, but then relaxed and smiled. "Sorry, Ian. I have problems, but thank you for everything. Good luck." As they took her away, he hurried off. "I better go home first and clean up. The people at the store won't like it if I show up like this. It's not good for business." He quickly cleaned his apartment, gathered all the dirty clothes, and started a load in the washer. He washed the dishes, loaded the dishwasher, changed the bed sheets, cleaned the bathroom, and more. An hour passed before he went to the store. Toothbrush, deodorant, girl soap, scrub, shampoo, conditioner, a comb for her long hair, and some hair ties. I don't know what she needs. I've never had sisters. Darn, I think I'll need another cart. Buying all this stuff for the first time isn't cheap. Okay, clothes. The nurse gave me a rough idea of sizes. All the labels on her clothes were hard to read. Sweatpants, shorts, t-shirts, hoodies, socks, shoes, and 2 pairs of sneakers. I can always return whatever doesn't fit. He glanced at bras and shook his head. No way. I have no idea about those. I'll need an air mattress too, which is going to be a nightmare. Sheets, blankets, towels, and washcloths. His apartment was simple, a lonely guy's place, but now there would be someone else living there, a woman who needed care. Next, he went to a medical supply store. He explained the situation, and they helped him choose the right equipment for home use. Finally, he went to the grocery store. He bought plenty of good food, not just his usual frozen meals. Salads, meats, vegetables, and cereals filled his cart. Luckily, he had a cover for the truck bed. He unloaded everything at home and went back to the hospital. 3 hours later, as he pulled out his computer to work, the surgeon came out. He jumped up. "Is she okay?" "Yes, Ian, the surgery went well. No problems. There were lots of small pieces to fix and a long time to heal. Unfortunately, with all the pieces in place, we had to give her an external fixator. It's a bigger device with more rods than most people have, especially on her right leg. The left one is not as badly hurt. She won't like it at first, but it's better than having 2 casts later." Ian looked confused. "Sorry, her casts will go from her feet to her hips on both legs. She will need to avoid putting pressure on her legs for at least 3 months, maybe 6 or more. But the joints are fine, and she's young, so she should adapt. It will just take time. You can support her in the meantime. I got some supplies while she was in surgery." "Great. The nurses will give you a list of what you will need at home to make sure you buy the right things, and social services can assist you. Can I see her soon, when she gets moved to the other area?" When he got the call, he went into the room. She was still waking up from the anesthesia. He walked over to her bed and gently pushed her hair back. She opened her eyes and smiled. "Hello, silly. You look nice. You shouldn't have dressed up for me." She blinked her eyes playfully. He chuckled. "I might have to sleep in my office after all. The doctor said everything went well. But now you have a tough piece of metal under the sheets." He handed her a bunch of flowers he had bought. She started to cry. "You are a troublemaker. I just had surgery and now you're making me cry. Ian, no one has ever given me flowers before. Well, once, but I never got them, thank you." "But why are you doing this?" "Because I can, and I want to help," he replied. "I need to focus on something. The white ring was too much. I can't stop thinking about it. I need a goal to distract me from the past. Helping you might be exactly what I need. It's simple because you need assistance. This is what people should do." He smiled. "Besides, what other choice do you have? You can't put weight on your legs for a long time. How do you feel?" "It hurts, but not as much as before. I swear they put bricks in these bandages to make them heavier. Do you want to take a look?" "Sure, as long as you promise not to look under my shirt," she joked. He rolled his eyes and said, "I know your type." They pulled back the sheet and saw big metal rods holding her legs. "Well, they look cozy," he said, noticing her tears. "Ian, I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't helped me." "Don't mention it. The bear would have eaten you, and you wouldn't have to go through all this," he said jokingly. "Well, it makes me feel a lot better. Thank you," she said as she squeezed his hand. On the 5th day, she was allowed to go home. She could sit in a wheelchair, but her legs needed to be raised most of the time to reduce swelling. He visited her daily before and after work, and they learned a lot about each other while avoiding talks about their past in Ian's apartment. "This is it, Ellie. Your new home. Luckily, it's on the 1st floor, so we can easily move you in and out. Let me give you a tour. Here's the living room. I use Roku to watch TV and movies. I'll show you how it works. And here's the kitchen where you can prepare my food," he said with a laugh. "I've moved a lot of things to the lower shelves so you can reach all the snacks and protein bars from your chair. And here's the peanut butter," he added playfully. "I hope it has some pieces." "Of course, but I don't think you'll want to eat my cooking, Ian. It's not fit for anyone. The FDA has a warning about my cooking." "And here's the bathroom. What's that?" she asked. "A shower chair. You move from the wheelchair to the shower chair, do what you need, and then go back," he explained. "I bought you soaps, shampoos, and other stuff. Here's a toothbrush, comb, deodorant, and an extra heavy razor." He hesitated, a bit red in the face. "Oh, and one more thing. Did you buy me?" she started. He cut in. "Yes, I got you some." She felt tears come to her eyes. Really, Ian? How did you know? He winced a bit. Sorry, Ellie, I shouldn't have. This was the hardest shopping trip ever. I've never done this before. I had to ask someone and told her it was for a very special occasion, and she recommended these larger sizes. They are reusable and washable, he said, trying to explain. I can get you whatever you need. Just make a list, he promised. Really? You've already done so much. I'll figure out a way to repay you, she replied, her eyes full of tears. He continued the tour. Here's the bedroom with fresh sheets. I got rid of the old ones. They are now safe. Remember, you need to do your exercises 6 times a day. You have to strengthen your arms to help you move easier. I can't carry you around all the time. You know I have a bad back. What's this? She asked. That's a toilet by the bed, so if you need to get up at night, you can go right there. If needed, I can help you move your legs, he explained. I also stocked up on toilet paper, he added with a grin. She felt a bit embarrassed. Sorry, Ian, this is too personal. But you really need it. You need to call for help when you need it. I promise to be professional about it, he assured her with a smile. You're unbelievable, she said, laughing a little. But Ian, I just can't. He held up his hand. You need help, Ellie? It's simple. That's what people do. You are special, and you need care. Can you help me get into bed and hide this iron under the blanket? I think I need a short nap. Then I should do some exercises, eat, and spend some time relaxing. He helped her to bed but made her get in by herself. Ian, before you leave, I know we shouldn't be too friendly. You know about being professional and all, but can I give you a thank you kiss? What? Sure. He leaned down and kissed her gently on the lips. She tensed at first, but then eased up. She sighed and pulled away. Get out of here. Sorry, Ellie. Maybe I didn't get it right. You really didn't understand. It should have felt wrong, but it didn't. I should have disliked it, but it was nice. Oh, Ian, I shouldn't have done that, right? He looked confused and turned to leave. Wait, try again. He came back, leaned down and kissed her again. She sighed and hugged his neck. Wow, that felt good. Ian, what should I do now? Focus on getting better, Ellie. I'll make you a peanut butter sandwich. Get out. Wait, where will you sleep? Ian, I'm taking your bed. That's not fair. I bought an air mattress. I figured the couch wouldn't be enough. Plus, your iron things might poke through the mattress. Everything will be fine. Go to bed and I'll make something to eat. After you finish your routines, we'll watch something on TV. The next morning, he helped her move to a chair, wash her face, and get ready. We didn't talk about it yesterday, but I got you some clothes, long-sleeve shirts, comfy shorts, some t-shirts, sweaters, and a few dresses for home. I bought you underwear, but I couldn't guess your bra size. She looked at him. Bras? Color? Is that what you call them in North Carolina? I'm a 34C, but maybe I should shop with you. I could skip them, but then you'd be all distracted. What? Underwear? They are practical. Ellie, I already feel bad enough about this surprise. Sorry, Ellie. I can return what doesn't fit and take you shopping for what you need. Our motto is to help Ellie. Stop with that. No tears. This is a big help, Ian. No one ever gave me anything good, just problems. They created a routine. Ellie tried to find things to do. She cleaned, cooked, and did laundry. She watched YouTube videos about cooking and other stuff. When it was warm, she enjoyed sitting in the sun and talked to her neighbors and their dogs. But when Ian came home, she asked, Ian, could you take me to work with you and teach me about computers? I've never had a phone or a computer. I want to help and learn more about this. I could meet clients, and I think I could see them from my chair. I'm assuming your office is set up for people with disabilities. She smiled at him. I could answer the phone or take messages. What do you think? That sounds great, he said. The next morning, she went to work with him. He moved things around to make it easier for her to get around and showed her the office. So this is the famous computer service place. Very nice. Do you have many clients who come without appointments or mostly by appointment? Both. She mostly watched, but started greeting people as they came in. Ellie, I need to step away for a bit. I'll be back in an hour. Please explain this to people. They can come back or leave their contact info and I will call them. It's the same with the phone messages and notes on the counter. If you have any questions, call me. Here is my number. He left during a busy time. She greeted each person kindly, apologized, explained what was happening, and suggested options. When Ian got back, he had lunch and bags. They ate together before he helped more clients. She was happy when they got home. She offered to cook dinner, but he winked and said he would do it himself. After dinner, Ellie, I have something for you. First, this is a mobile phone. It's really a little computer. I've already put my number in it so you can call or text me. I added the doctor's number too. And look, here's an iPad with a big screen, and I'll teach you everything you need to know. Ian, this is too much. Really. Bring them back. He raised his hand. Don't worry, Ellie. I want you to be my tech guru. I get calls daily from confused clients who need help. I'd love for you to help me with that because they could become clients. The internet is full of information, and once you know Apple products well, we could even do Android stuff later. What do you say? Are you interested? Absolutely. I can't wait to learn. Will I get a certificate or something? He smiled and shook his head. Yes, Ellie, you'll get something. They're set up to connect to the internet here and at work. You can send me messages anytime. That night, as soon as he rested his head, his phone buzzed. Oh no. Now what? Yen, thanks for everything. I can't repay you, but I'll try. This was her first message. She was feeling better every day. She got stronger and became skilled with computers, eager to learn more. He often stayed up late after she went to bed. It's been 2 weeks. Ellie, I'm tired of seeing you sit around all day. I know you study everything about Apple, but... Sorry, Ian. What do you want me to do? He smiled. How about going to school? I would love to, but I can't afford it. My boss only pays for my room and food, she said with a smile. Ian, community colleges are free. You can take classes online or in person. I spoke to people at a nearby college, and they think you should apply. The application is online. We need to find your birth certificate and school records. Have you finished school? It's okay if you don't have it finished. Just take it easy, Ian. I'm done with school. Do you remember Jed? Barely. It was hard, but I did it. Great. We'll need a lot of papers, but it should be easy for someone who knows computers. Here's my credit card for any fees. What do you think? They have computer classes that give certificates, and we know how much you love certificates. They are made for people who work. Since it's a degree program, you don't need to take all those extra classes unless you want to. Just focus on computers. The semester starts next week, so we need to hurry. She gave him a hug. Ian, this is my dream. I'm so excited. The whole city needs your help. Even nearby towns could use your skills. Maybe we can hire someone to help keep the business running. If my leg heals, I might even be able to help out. You seem unsure. Let's see how it goes. Let's find out how much I can learn in this time. Now let's go home and I'll make you a special dinner. Really? What a surprise. I thought you liked what I cooked yesterday. I didn't actually get sick today, but your fried chicken was unique. More like chicken chips. I just lost track of time. It's your cheap fryer's fault. I need the right tools to make good food. I didn't just order all those things, but I did get timers and thermometers to check the temperature. I'll start using measuring cups and follow the steps in the recipe. Okay, Miss Chef. What will you cook tonight? I'm getting pizza from a pizzeria and then making brownies from a box. No way to mess those up. Well, mostly. I need to cook for the baby too. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. No pressure. Look, I think about these things too. What about 4 to 6 kids? Never! Maybe a couple of cute girls to spoil. She pulled him in for another kiss. Ian, this scares me. I've never loved anyone before, and no one has loved me. This weekend was hard for both of us. He nodded. How about we go home and relax? Yes, Captain. This pizza is always tasty. Are you going to start making your own? Of course, the frozen kind that just goes in the oven. Master Chef, huh? If only I had a timer. Oh, and the right temperature, she laughed. I'm going to take a shower. Maybe you can help me to bed later. I'm really tired. Just call me when you're ready. After her shower, she dried off and cleaned around her leg where the rods were. She pulled out a package she ordered online. It had a top that was almost see-through, but she decided not to wear the bottoms because they got stuck. Why did I buy this? She felt unsure. What if he thinks I look bad? She was nervous. I already told him how I feel, but he didn't say anything. What if the talk about kids was just a joke? Can you help me to bed, Ian? He walked in and stopped, staring at her. He didn't say anything. She started to cry. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. She began to roll away. Stop, Ellie, please stop. You look beautiful and perfect. I'm just speechless. He smiled. I'll sit on the bed and look at you. Well, that wasn't exactly what I wanted, but if it works for you, I guess I can manage. Maybe I should join a magazine called Girls in Wheelchairs. He laughed. I don't like to just look. I never liked museums for that reason. He picked her up and she hugged him. Ian, please turn off the light. I'm nervous about showing you my scars, Ellie. They're just part of who I am. You don't have to be shy about them. I want to see all of you. Please, just come close to me and hold me. I really need this right now. I want to feel you beside me. Will you stay here with me? Ian laid down next to her on the blanket. Do you want me to stop? He asked. I'm just scared, Ian. No one has ever been gentle with me before. It's always been harsh. I really don't know what to do. I just tried to get by. You need to relax and trust me for now, he said gently. Just do what feels good for you. And remember, I'll stop whenever you want. Don't you dare stop, she said with a laugh. As they shared a moment together, Ian looked at her. It was incredible. She felt tears in her eyes. Thank you, Ian. That was amazing. You're the first man who has ever truly cared for me. Will it always feel like this? He chuckled. Of course, with me it will. Maybe it'll get even better when we don't have these worries, she replied. There's so much to try, so much to discover. She suddenly said, Oh, Ian, I love you so much. Then she paused, looking shocked. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. You don't have to apologize, Ellie. No pressure at all. I love you too. Oh, Ian, you just made me the happiest girl. I've never loved anyone before, and no one has ever loved me. Thank you, Ian. I'm going to bake a cake and make some fried chicken, she said excitedly. No need to thank me, he replied. I can't wait for the chicken. They shared a long kiss, but then Ellie looked worried. I'm scared that one day I won't be enough for you. It terrifies me that you might leave just like Sam. She looked into his eyes. No, please, just keep being yourself. That's what matters. You're better than any of them, she said, referring to Sam. I could never hurt you like that. It would hurt me too much. We're connected. What happens to you affects me. Even if one day we can't be together like this, that won't change what we have now, she said, hitting his chest playfully. What do you mean by now? He asked. Sometimes I feel like there's a lot to work through. You know, if everyone else disappeared and it was just us, I'd still take care of you. I'd even make you fried chicken, she said jokingly. I'm safe with you. I'm yours completely, as long as you want me. I worry that I won't be enough for you, Ian admitted. You're attractive, smart, and young. I have just a little more age than you, but it's not a big deal. Still, I can't imagine how betrayal must have felt for you. If it's anything like how I feel when I think about losing you, I wouldn't be able to cope. Don't worry, Ellie, that won't happen, he assured her. But then she remembered, oh no, we need to go to the pharmacy tomorrow so I can get the morning after pill. How could I forget? It's been less than a week since my last cycle, so it should be fine. But what if it's not? Calm down, Ellie. The chances are low. If something does happen, at least we'll be ahead of things. But are you serious? She asked, rushing to kiss him but accidentally scratching him. I truly apologize for that. I just want these bandages off. They make things so hard, she said. And remember, the next step is longer casts, which are worse than what you have now. True, at least these don't get wet, she laughed. Just know I'm really glad you found me in the woods. You saved me. But he reminded her, tomorrow we'll go to the pharmacy. The next day we need to see a doctor for a checkup. Then she admitted, I've never been checked by a doctor before. What if they find something wrong? Don't worry. If something goes wrong, I'd just carry you back. 2 weeks later, her stitches were taken out. After 6 weeks, she was healing well, but she still had to keep the fixator for 3 more months. Eventually, she went back in for another procedure. After 6 months, the casts came off and she started therapy to learn how to walk again. She had lost strength and needed a cane for support. Wow, my legs are so thin. I have a lot of work ahead to get strong again and hike with Ian, she thought. She was taking her classes online and keeping busy, while Ian was starting a full-time job at the hospital and had a new role in computer services. He helped Ellie with tech issues when she was unable to. One night, Ian came out of the shower, dried himself off, and started putting on his shorts. "You need to come lie down with me," Ellie said. He smiled and did just that, and they shared a sweet kiss, enjoying each other's closeness. One day, right after his cast was removed, Ian knew it was time to go home to Carolina and make peace with his family. Or at least, he needed to talk to his parents again. He couldn't just leave everything behind without facing it. They made mistakes, and what they did to him was wrong. But Sam had reminded him that his mom loves him. That thought must weigh heavily on her heart, just like it did on his. After all, she lost all 3 of her sons, and Ian almost lost his husband too. More than 2.5 years had gone by. Ellie said, "Please, Ian, I want to meet them." "Really?" he replied. "Yes. If I'm visiting my parents, you should come with me." "But what if I mess up? What if they don't like me? What should I wear?" "Listen, it's fine. You'll like them, and even if you don't, it won't matter. My love for you is what really counts." "Okay, but I need to make this official first." With that, Ian got down on one knee and opened a small black box with a ring inside. "Ellie, will you marry me?" Tears filled her eyes as she raised her hands. "Wait, I need to talk first." Fear, worry, and disappointment flickered across his face. "No, Ian, I used 7 words, not those scary 4. I know you love me, I can see it," Ellie continued. "But I'm loud. I get too excited and sometimes I talk too much. I know I annoy you sometimes too." "I'm chaos," she added. "But I promise, no one will love you like I do. I'll always work hard to make you happy." She looked deep into his eyes. "I will always be loyal to you, so if you still want me after all that, then ask me again. Ian, will you allow me to be Mrs. Ian Turner?" "Yes, yes, yes!" She stumbled as she tried to hug him tightly. "Oh, Ian, I'll do my best to impress your parents. And tomorrow maybe we can go to the tattoo shop?" "For what?" he asked. "I want a big tattoo that says, 'Special for Ian,' with an arrow pointing at my heart." "I think I love you, Ellie." "Then I'll cook dinner for us." "Good idea, but I have a reservation at that restaurant we wanted to try." "Are you making fun of my cooking?" She laughed. Dinner turned out to be wonderful. Afterwards, he asked her to dance. "I can't dance with these canes. I'll look silly," she said. Ignoring her worries, he lifted her from her chair and carried her to the dance floor, cradling her in his arms like a child. "I love you, Ian Turner," she breathed, resting her head on his shoulder. "We need to go home soon so I can show you how much I care." In the morning, she looked at her ring in disbelief. "I never thought this would happen, Ian. I never dreamed someone like you could love me." Later, Ian remembered, "You need to go home for Thanksgiving. We can fly to Raleigh and spend time with my family." "Have you talked to Sam?" Ellie asked. "I did. I hope you're not upset, but I wanted to give you a heads up. Sam wants to help with your relationship with your parents. You need to do this at some point, Ian," she said, encouraging him. "I don't think I can call her," he replied, feeling anxious. "What if we just drop by?" she suggested. "No way! That's not the right thing to do," he said firmly. "You can't keep avoiding it," she insisted. "Even I know that's not right." "Okay, but my mom doesn't even know who you are," Ian said. "Of course she does. Sam has talked to her and she's shared details about both of us," Ellie replied confidently. "Really? How do you know?" he asked, surprised. "It's easy. Texting, remember?" She chuckled. "And yes, Sam and I keep in touch." "Do you have Facebook?" he asked. "Not yet, but as soon as we see your mom, I'll have one." "Your mother still cries every day, just like Sam said, and she asks the priests for forgiveness every Sunday. She lost all 3 of her sons because of this. Can you imagine how hard that is for her? Let's give her a chance. We can always leave if it doesn't go well. Please let me do this." "Okay, Ellie. I think we need to do this someday. Just take a walk. Please. I'm already nervous to talk to her. If you're next to me, I won't feel comfortable." She smiled at him and he left. "Get it together, Ellie. Stop being nervous. Be brave." "Hello, Mrs. Turner. This is Ellie Spencer." "I know who you are, Ellie. Sam talks highly of you. How can I help you?" "If it's all right with you and Mr. Turner, Ian and I would like to come to Raleigh for a few days over Thanksgiving." "Of course. Just a moment." Ellie heard Mrs. Turner start to cry on the other end. "Ellie, is this really happening? Is this your idea?" "Yes, but it needs to be done. He can't get better until he comes home and finds peace." "Oh, did he make you call?" Mrs. Turner asked, her voice shaky. "Yes, he did. I told him to go for a walk so I wouldn't be nervous. Oh, Ellie, if you can do this, I have so much to say, starting with an apology. Thank you. I can't wait to meet you. Please tell him I'm so sorry and that I love and miss him." Ellie felt a lump in her throat. "Mrs. Turner, he loves you too. He was just lost in his thoughts. I don't know about his brothers. He doesn't want to talk about them at all, but he's doing well here. His computer shop is thriving, and many hospitals want his help. I'll text you the details, but we can probably rent a car at the airport. Sam said you live just an hour away. I've never flown before, but I've heard there can be big delays around the holidays. There's one thing, Mrs. Turner. I know you're his mother, and you know what's best, but I obviously don't know what's best either, or we wouldn't be here. So, can we make sure it's just you and Mr. Turner, no one else? I will do my best. If we get there and there are other people, I think he'll just leave. Ellie, you know him better than I do. I'll do whatever you think is right." "That's great. See you soon, Mrs. Turner. I can't wait to meet you." "Thank you. From what Sam says, you seem like exactly what he needs." "Thanks. It was quite a walk, Ian. I didn't mean to walk all that way. Mom and I talked while she made holiday desserts." "Really? Did she hit her head or something?" "No, we didn't talk about desserts, but she was crying and wanted me to tell you how sorry she is, how much she loves you, and how much she misses you." Ellie nodded. "This is the right thing to do." They checked in at a kiosk and got through security. Ellie was pulled aside for a check, and it felt like forever. "Ellie, what did you pack? I thought they would keep you there all day," Ian said, chuckling. "I didn't know I would get stopped. I felt so embarrassed." "Why didn't you tell me? I didn't know that would happen. I'll throw this away or your mom can have it." He laughed and said, "You really freaked out. I won't talk to you until your face isn't so red." They finally boarded the plane. Ellie squeezed Ian's hand tightly, her knuckles turning white, but when they took off, she screamed in joy. "Oh, Ian, this is amazing. Look at how small the houses are getting. We should fly all the time. You better make a lot of money, but I can help." They got excited about landing, rented a car, and drove for an hour towards Ian's home. "I can drive now," Ellie said. "I never needed a license before. The test was tough, but you taught me well." When they arrived, she said, "Okay, it's time for the next step. You have to get out of the car, Ian. We can't just sit here." Before Ian could step out, his mother rushed down the steps and reached out to hug him. "I'm so sorry for what I did to you. I lost your trust." She started to cry. "I'm really sorry, Ian. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I had to act, but at first, I wasn't sure what to do. I hoped everything would be okay, but then it was too late. All I could do was wish you wouldn't find out how wrong I was. I was completely mistaken about everything." She couldn't say anything more. "It's okay, Mom. I should have paid attention to what was happening, but now it's all over." Ellie gave him a gentle push, and he looked at her. She pointed to his mom, who was still staring at the ground. He stepped forward and wrapped his arms around her. "Oh, Ian," she said, crying and resting her head on his chest. "I'm so sorry. I love you so much, and I missed you a lot." After their embrace ended, she introduced herself. "This is Ellie. Hi, Ellie. Nice to meet you." He reached out for a hug, and Ellie hugged him back, holding onto her cane. "Stop standing there like a statue. Give your son a hug and be friendly with Ellie." With that, Ian took a few steps into the house, walking slightly ahead of his parents, who saw Ellie wondering how they could help her. She could walk, but after nearly 6 months of not moving much, her body was still stiff and a bit weak. "Hang in there, Ellie," Ian called as he rushed down the steps to help her with her bag. He lifted both her and her bag as if they were very light and set them down inside. Ellie noticed his mom watching her and couldn't help but grin. "Yes, Mrs. Turner, dating a guy like Ian does have some perks. He carries things really well." "But he eats almost everything," they all laughed. They enjoyed the day talking about light topics, avoiding anything serious. They didn't mention Bo or Rex at all. Dinner featured one of Ian's favorite meals, meatloaf with baked sweet potatoes and a delicious pecan pie. "You know, Mom, Ellie is a great cook. Her favorite dish is fried chicken," Ian said. Ellie turned red and replied, "Well, as you probably know, Mrs. Turner, I can't really cook. I never had the chance, but I do make a mean frozen pizza and instant brownies if I set a timer." Yeah, and I make sure the oven is set to the right heat. They all laughed again. It was a fantastic meal, Mrs. Turner. I'd love to have the recipe so I can try to make it, Ellie said. Isn't it just a big burger with breadcrumbs? I can help you figure it out, Ian added. While the two talked about sports and politics, Ellie quietly said, You know, guys, I'm not too happy with my football team this year. The Broncos have 3 wins and 7 losses, which isn't great. Before you feel too sorry for yourself, Ian interrupted, Carolina is even worse with 3 wins and 8 losses, and you've already switched quarterbacks 3 times this season. They shared stories about college football teams. Ellie mentioned, You guys know my team is the Georgia Bulldogs, and I think they'll win the championship again. But the traffic jam tomorrow will be a nightmare after the game. As Ellie prepared to leave, Ian and his dad both looked surprised. Ellie, I didn't know you knew about football, Ian said. I'm full of surprises, she joked. What else can a girl do while she's working alone? Mrs. Turner smiled at her. I'm impressed, Ellie. How do you know all this about football? I don't, really. I just watched it the week before we left. I was waiting for the right moment to share, she said with a laugh. Ellie started washing the dishes in the sink, and suddenly there was a loud crash as a plate broke on the floor. I'll clean it up, Mrs. Turner, she said, bending down to pick up the pieces. She looked up and saw Mrs. Turner's concerned gaze. Ellie felt a blush creep into her cheeks when she realized her scars were visible. Tears welled in her eyes, and she couldn't meet Mrs. Turner's gaze anymore. I haven't used that for about 1.5 years now. It was hard after my mom passed away. Does Ian know? Mrs. Turner asked softly. Ellie nodded. But how do you know? Ever since Ian left, I've been volunteering at a shelter. We all watch out for each other. Ellie wiped the tears from her face. Standing tall, she took a deep breath and looked Mrs. Turner in the eyes. Mrs. Turner, I know I'm not the kind of girl any mom would want for her son. My mom and I struggled a lot, and I practically grew up without a home. I don't own anything, and I didn't do much. Everything I have is from Ian. I can never thank him enough. I may have had a tough past, but I graduated and I'm in college now. I help run a shop while your son works in the hospital. I'm grateful to him for my life. Oh dear, you must be so proud of what he achieved, Mrs. Turner said, placing a comforting hand on Ellie's shoulder. Don't feel sorry for that. You've come a long way. When I looked into those big blue eyes, I felt like I had lost myself. I was completely his, in every way. He could have left me there, and I would have been content just by seeing those eyes one time, but he chose to save me. He helped me in many ways. Still, I could see that his eyes also held pain, anger, and sadness. He felt so alone. I knew I had to do everything I could to make him smile, laugh, and feel happy again. It wasn't easy, but I think I made progress. Sam was a big step for us. I thought this would be our last step together. Chris nodded when Sam spoke. Well, there was actually more than one meeting with Sam. My name is Sam, Samantha Ellison. When he asked for my name and I said Sam, I really thought he was going to run away. So I switched to Ellie. The other Sam was just a coincidence. I wasn't sure if she told him everything, but I thought it was over and that he would send me away. This was a step towards healing and moving forward. He was already feeling better than he had been. I doubt Bo or Rex will ever return. He doesn't even mention them. But who knows what could happen in a few years. When I brought it up, he said that strangers can betray you, but family is supposed to show their feelings face to face. Chris sighed and covered her face with her hands. No, Mrs. Turner. She looked at me. I know Ellie. He is right. What I and others did to him can never be forgiven. I can't believe we kept this from him. I couldn't believe his brothers could treat him that way. Thank you for bringing him back home and back to life. Ellie nodded. I have a difficult past. I'm a mess. But no one could love your son like I do. No one will try harder every day to be the person he deserves. No one would suffer so much when he wasn't around. I will never hurt him, betray him, or be disloyal in any way. We are connected. I would hurt if he hurt. Mrs. Turner shook her head. No, Mrs. Turner, I didn't mean to. I'm just so sorry. She started crying again. I'm not perfect, but he is perfect for me, and I try to be the woman he deserves. Mrs. Turner came over and hugged her. They both started crying again. Ali, you are perfect for him. Thanks for everything. Thank you for bringing him back to me, back to us. She took Ellie's hands. Then she paused. What? What's this? Ellie, are you engaged? Ellie nodded. Sorry, Mrs. Turner, I told him to let you know, but he wanted to wait for the right moment. I tried to hide the ring, but it was hard. She laughed. I warned him about my flaws and how I might upset him sometimes, but he still wanted to be with me. He makes me so happy. I think his life will be great with you, Ellie. Welcome to the family. I hope you will accept us. They hugged again. Guess it's true, Allie said. Then you two should sleep in the same room. You look embarrassed. Ellie replied, Oh no, I can't. That wouldn't be right. Ian wouldn't allow it. After what happened at the airport, you have to tell me about it. Just sneak in once we're all asleep. I can imagine this isn't easy for him. He will need some support. She whispered, Don't tell him. But his father and I lived together a while before we got married. I know he thinks it was just a couple of times, but his father was quite the charmer. She winked. Anyway, how about we wash these dishes? Ellie asked. Oh, God, Mrs. Turner, It's okay, Ellie. Please, call me Chris. Now, tell me what happened at the airport. Ellie touched Chris's arm. Oh, Chris, I can't. It was really awkward. Ellie, you need to share it, Chris said. Well, I've never been on a plane before, and I figured Ian and I would be in separate rooms. I thought it might be a long wait, so I packed a little something just in case. You brought something in your carry-on? Chris laughed loudly. They both started giggling like old friends sharing a secret. It seems like your mom truly cares about you. Me too. She really seems to fit with you, Ian. I'm glad you found her, even if it was in a strange way. She helps me more than you can imagine. Listen, son, I'm really sorry. We should have told you everything sooner. But it's okay, Dad. What's done is done. We have all learned and can move forward. Thank you. I promise nothing like this will happen again. I will always be honest with you. Let's enjoy each other's company now, but we shouldn't go too far with the honesty thing, Dad. Just then, a muffled voice came from another room. I can't believe you did that. I had to turn it on when she pulled it out. I swear every person there turned to look at me. I was so embarrassed, my face went red. She called out, Where did you get that? I told her. Then she got some others involved. I was dying. They winked and said to have a nice trip, and I couldn't believe it. Oh my God, I couldn't move after that. And then he called out asking if everything was okay. Of course it wasn't. They both burst into laughter. Oh, Ellie, better you than me. Now tell me about this other story. I couldn't figure out what Sam was saying. I spent 2 days lying on my back with broken legs. I felt really confused, dreaming about a prince with light hair who came riding in and woke me up with a kiss. Later, after everyone went to bed, Chris heard the sound of canes tapping on the floor and smiled. This girl is brave. I'm happy she's here. Dawn, stop snoring and wake up. What? Chris? What do you want? I hope you're feeling strong because you've got some things to do. What? No way. Anyway, kids, we do the same thing. Ian loves to party just like his dad, but she doesn't. I heard her walking down the hall, just like I had to do when we stayed at your relative's house. I think your parents ordered those loud springs just for this, Chris joked. Then your mom walked around with a silly grin while we hobbled around with sore knees. Now come here, I want you to imagine we're in our 20s again. Ellie tried to sneak down the hall, those noisy canes. She quietly opened the door and whispered, Yum, yum. No reply. He was sound asleep. She pulled the blankets off and sat next to him. What? Ellie, be quiet. You'll wake up your parents. We don't have much time for warm-up, so let's make love. It was a long day and I need some affection. Fine, Ellie. I just don't know if Ian will feel the same. They are doing this right now. Your mom said they do this all the time. You're making this up. My mom isn't like that. You're being silly. She's almost a mannequin, but she can write. What about her? Is this what I'll be like when I'm older? No way. You'll always have to care, or in your case, just for a long while. Ugh, I'll have to put some machine in the bathroom to keep things fresh. Ian, you're being too hard on me, and I might have to hobble back across the hall. It makes me feel sick just thinking about it. Get moving, mister. Just be quiet while you're doing this. You're the noisy one, she teased. Maybe you should just do a terrible job so I don't like her. No, that's not right. You need to do a great job to make me happy. Give me that pillow and I'll use it to cover my face. Now stop talking. They fell asleep in each other's arms as the sun rose. Ellie quietly went back across the hall, making Chris smile again. Breakfast is ready. Guys, come get your waffles while they're hot. Ellie, how did you sleep last night? Dawn asked. She blushed and looked down. Everything is fine. The bed is really nice. Chris winked at her and she blushed even more. So, you two, Dawn began, not knowing what was going on. When's the big day? They both went silent for a moment. We haven't decided yet. To be honest, we haven't really talked about it much. I'd be okay getting married today, but I don't know what Ian thinks. Yes, we need to discuss where, when, and who. Well, I think we should keep it simple. I remember how your mom wanted a big wedding. That was a lot of work. Ellie, do you have a lot of family to invite? That will change some things. Ellie's eyes filled with tears. She grabbed a napkin and stood up. Sorry, I think something got in my eye. I'll be right back. Start without me. She hurried down the hallway to her room. What did I do? Dawn asked, watching her go. Chris and Ian got up. Ian, stay put. Let me talk to her. Chris headed to the bedroom, knocked, and didn't wait for an answer. Ellie was lying on the bed with her face hidden under a pillow, curled up tightly. Chris sat on the edge of the bed and gently touched her leg. Ellie? She moved the pillow, jumped up, and hugged Chris. Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin breakfast. It's okay, Ellie, what's going on? He asked, still holding her. I just feel alone. I only have Ian, and now maybe you two, too. I don't really know my family. People like me don't have friends. Everyone just looks out for themselves. The closest thing I have to a friend is Sam, but I can't invite her. That wouldn't be right. I know Ian might want a big wedding, but I see his side filled with guests and mine empty. I can't ask Ian to buy me a dress or pay for everything. The bride's family is supposed to help. We need money for our future. I don't know how to tell him. I'm okay with going to the registry office. I already feel married. Honestly, Ellie, I'm not sure what he wants. His first wedding was a big deal. He might want something simple, though. Just know we're okay with whatever choice you make. We'll be there, not to rush things or take over. It doesn't matter where it is. You decide on everything. What about all his family and friends? She asked, worried. I don't care about them, Ellie. This day is for you. Okay, I'll send your ogre to talk to you too, she laughed. And you can make your decision. Thanks, but I just need to dry my eyes and we can go back to breakfast. Ian and I can discuss this later. Thanks, Chris, for understanding. They headed back to the dining area. Sorry, Dawn. I'm okay now. Honey, can we talk about something after breakfast? Fine. Now pass those waffles here. I'm starving. If your son had a waffle iron that actually worked, I bet he could make them. Everyone laughed. Ellie, did you cry about the wedding? Dawn asked. She nodded. It must be because you have a lot of family to invite and I don't, he said kindly. Yeah, she replied. If you want a big wedding with a dress, flowers, cake, and a reception, we can do it. But I don't need all of that. It was my first time. And look at how everything has turned out. It feels normal now. It would be nice to do this at home, and I should invite my parents. They need to come and see where we live and what we are doing. But this is really about you and me. We promise to love each other forever until death ends it all. And the part where the wife says she will always listen to her husband, that won't be in our vows. You're too prone to mistakes, like faulty computer code, so sometimes I might need to go my own way to get things right. Kiss me, big guy. When we get back, let's talk about the details. Whatever you want, Ellie. I want to be with you, Ian. That's all I need. We could go to the courthouse and have your parents as witnesses. I want a nice white dress, but not a formal wedding dress. Simple gold rings will do. Does that sound good? Yes. Let's pick a date. What about a honeymoon? Darling, every day with you feels like a honeymoon. The problem is that we can't just take a week off. The hospital needs you, and the businesses and people in town need me. Or you? It depends on what's happening. Wait. There are some really smart people in my classes, especially Ron. He's clever, but he's not a typical nerd. He knows how to talk to people and communicate clearly. He speaks regular English, not complicated computer language. He understands all about games and the machines that run them, which we don't know much about. This could help us offer more services and sell those gaming machines. Jan, this is so exciting. What if I ask him to work for us? We could give him a month to settle in. And if he really fits in, we could take some time off. But can we get married first and have the honeymoon later? I want to be Mrs. Turner as soon as possible. And I want to have our little girl soon. I want to start a family, a part of my prince. If we plan to do this soon, can I stop taking my pills? Can we try to have a baby? Only if you want it, of course. But I don't want to rush you. You know, Olga, time is moving on, and we can't wait too long if we want 6 children. Any thoughts? Ian? Oh, I thought I had a few more years before needing medication or planning for retirement. Looks like you have been thinking a lot, Allie. Sorry, Ian. I had a lot of ideas in my head and planned to talk to you. I think they are good ideas. You have a better head for business than I do, Ellie. Maybe we can even open another office in Pinnacle or somewhere else. We can help local businesses, too. And we will need some employees because you will be busy with kids for the next decade. Enjoy my beautiful figure now, boy, because it will change once we start having kids. Do you really want this? Absolutely. I didn't take my pill this morning. Can we start working on our first baby? Only if it's a boy. The holidays are over and Ron starts working. He blended in well and managed to take a big share of the business in Dillard, which also gave us some time to relax. Ian and Ellie took a few days off for Christmas. Ron worked until noon on Christmas Eve for some last-minute sales of computers and games. Jan's parents arrived a few days earlier and stayed at a local inn since there was no room in the apartment. They made the holiday special with sledding and ice skating. They had a big Christmas tree and the apartment was decorated beautifully. The town always did a great job for the season with every store prepared. Lee made stockings for everyone, filled with sweets. They all went to church on Christmas Eve and celebrated together. Like Ian, they really loved this area, especially the mountains. With all the snow, they didn't get to explore much. They were amazed at the business and everything this couple was doing. They left on the 1st, and then the work began again. Ellie walked into the office looking determined after meeting with a client. Hey, Ron, is Ian here? Yes, he's in the back working on some repairs or something, he replied. Thanks. She went into the back and closed the door. Ian, my love, we need to talk about something. What have you done again, Ellie? He asked, raising an eyebrow. You only call me my love when there's trouble. You're silly. Why do I love you? What now? Oh no, you're not. No, Ian, not this month. But first, we need to chat about business. Ron is doing a great job, don't you think? He nodded. He's eager, smart, loves using his computer and gaming skills, and he's great with customers. He's really growing our business, especially in Dillard. Yes, I agree, said Ian. And if we don't act now, he might leave and start a competing business. That's not good for us. Great idea. Let's do it. What kind of let's do it is this? She laughed. I read about negotiations, and this is a trick they use. Well, I won't tell you that again. That was the business talk. Now for the personal stuff. No, Ellie, we can't have that conversation with Ron right here. Not him. I could probably manage that without a problem. I want to discuss the wedding. I know exactly what I want. First, I want to do this soon, like next month. You agree? Yes, but what are you scared of? That you might agree to too much? I want your parents and everyone special to be there. He nodded. I know it's winter and February is tricky, but I want to get married where I met you, down by the rocks. I talked to the forestry staff, and we can get a special permit to use snowmobiles on the trail. So it should take only a few hours instead of 2 days or more, depending on how your parents feel about it while you're with me. He just looked at her. I'll take that as a yes. I already checked the rental. With snowmobiles, we can pull sleds with tents, food, and a stove. Everything we need. We can set up a big tent on the ground. I'll wear my white dress and look like a snow queen with flowers in my hair and a bouquet of evergreens. When I marry my Prince Ian, I don't want to wait until summer. Please. He still looked at her, a bit uncertain. And it's cheap, Mr. Frugal. What about the priest, Ellie? Can we convince one of them to come to the forest with us in February for the Rocky Mountains? Ellie, we might end up like those people who got lost in the snow years ago. Oh, stop being so dramatic. We know how to stay warm in winter. If it gets too bad, we'll just come home. There aren't any dangerous slopes, so no avalanches or anything like that. But who will perform the ceremony? Actually, in our state, we can marry ourselves. It's called the celebration of marriage. How do you like that term? 5 darn syllables. Can you see how smart I'm getting? as long as we send the required form within 60 days. After that, with a receipt, then we're married. I suspect you and your parents won't like it, but our state lets people who were ordained as ministers in that online church perform the ceremony. Ron agreed to do the ceremony if we pay his fee. He could perform it and either stay the night with us or just come back. Fine. No, Ian, I really think this will work. What did you say? Okay. She rushed forward and hugged him. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This month we'll start our family. Thank you, Ian. And I think I should tell you, your parents are coming over the first weekend in February. I've already booked their tickets and rented a car. I've organized the rental of snowmobiles and winter gear. I've got a list of food and all the necessary supplies. All of my plans are in my Excel spreadsheets. Are you proud of me? He shook his head. So, my dear, I believe you've decided that with your new skills, I will say yes. Well, I know you want to make me happy, and you said it's not that important to you, and I have several ways to show my gratitude, so I was just guessing. Ian, look, I just want to become Mrs. Auger Turner as soon as possible. I know things are much simpler now, but I don't want to be very pregnant at the wedding. You mean you're going to let yourself go and get really big? Ian, I'm not even going to respond to that. I think you feel that little belly coming from all my delicious cooking. I'm so excited. I could burst. I will be the best wife and work hard to always make you happy. Relax, Ellie. Kiss me. No, we won't do that. On the way out, she gave Ron a thumbs up and smiled. Go become an ordained minister, Ron. Poor guy. He didn't stand a chance, did he? Ellie? No. They arrived at the trailhead parking area early in the morning. The sky was clear, except for a few gray clouds that occasionally dropped some snowflakes. Temperatures were in the mid-30s, and no really cold weather was expected for the weekend. They were lucky. 3 snowmobiles, each with a trailer, were packed and ready. Ian and Ellie led the way, with his parents in the middle and Ron keeping an eye on Ian's parents, who were snowmobiling for the first time. The trail was easy to navigate. There was enough snow for a smooth ride, but not so much that they would get stuck. The forest was calm. A few birds chirped as the morning warmed up, but the deer had gone to their winter homes, and the small animals were asleep. Besides the sound of the engines, it was quiet. The tall evergreens added lovely colors to the forest, standing out against the brown and bare aspens and maples. Isn't it beautiful, Ian? Thank you for agreeing to this, she shouted in his ear as they drove. What would normally take 2 days of walking took just over 3 hours. Ellie? Oh my gosh, did you fall off? You're lucky you only broke your legs. And Ian, did you carry her up all those cliffs on your shoulders? My goodness, I don't know how I feel about trying to climb down the rocks, especially with all this gear. Even if we set everything down in the clearing, how can we get it all back up? You're right, Mom. Let's look around and see if we can find an easier way down. If we can't, we can use the ropes and the sled I brought to lower the things. Ian, I checked the maps of this area, and there seems to be a gentle slope a little further down the trail. It should be easy if there aren't many bushes or tall trees. Ian and Ron looked at each other. You studied those maps? Well, of course. She nodded. In fact, I studied them before I came up with this plan. Surprised? She winked at Chris. I'll go a bit further down the path and check the slope. Ron, why don't you go back and see if you can find anything? Luckily, 10 minutes later, there was indeed a path through the trees with a gentle slope that led to a clearing, and they were able to use the snowmobiles to reach the bottom. Ian cleared a spot in the snow right at the base of the slope and moved some rocks to create a circle. He set up a fire with some wood he had brought. Ellie, why don't you and my parents look for more dry firewood in the area? Ron and I will start setting up our tents and unloading our gear. The tents went up quickly, so setting up was easy. I'll get some water boiling for coffee or cocoa. After a little while, everyone was relaxed, sitting around the fire on the rocks they had cleared from the frozen ground. We sipped hot drinks and had lunch. Ian handed Ellie a peanut butter sandwich with a cheerful smile. Thank you, Ian. I didn't think I'd enjoy these again. But here, in this place, it feels right. Thanks for planning this. I guess I won't eat 5 or 6 like last time, she joked. Everyone laughed. So, Ellie, it's early morning. Do you want to have the wedding now or wait until tomorrow? She asked. I'd like to do it at dawn tomorrow when the light starts to shine. It's the start of a new day. Here, we won't see the sun until later in the morning. But we can still hold the ceremony as the forest wakes up. Will this work? Then, Ron, you can choose to head back or stay with us. It's nice to have a priest nearby, always with a friendly smile. In the meantime, why not put on these snowshoes and show me how you move in them? Mountain man, Chris teased. Chris, are you warm in the gear we got you? Ian said. I think it's best to go to bed early. The big day is tomorrow, Ian reminded everyone. They all agreed and headed to their tents. Suddenly, Ellie whispered, Ian, what are you doing? You can't fall asleep yet. You have responsibilities. My parents are right there. They'll hear us, Ian protested. You're being silly. They don't hear anything, Ellie said. Really? I hear nothing, Ellie replied, covering her ears. La 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 la. I can't hear you, Ian. My parents don't do anything like that, she insisted. If you keep this up around them, we won't see them anymore. Ian, stop covering your ears. Don't you remember what your mom said about your dad being very determined? She asked. I don't remember much, but it was about the door, Ian said. Not the front door, the back door, she said. Stop it. I'm never going to look at them the same way again. Ian groaned. I'm going to have nightmares. Ellie laughed. Just know I won't let you quit once we're older. I think you'll have to kiss me to quiet me down. The next morning, long before dawn, Ellie called, Wake up! You're shaking the snow off the branches with your snoring. We need to get up and start a fire. Don't look! You can't see the bride before the wedding, she added. He grumbled some words. And my mom is coming to help. An hour later, it was getting light. Ellie was ready in a long white dress that perfectly fit her, with warm clothes and boots underneath. She had a sprig of pine with berries in her hair and held a little bouquet. Priest Ron stood with his back to the fire. Ian, dressed nicely, was standing to the side. His parents, a bit away, were taking pictures. When she came out, her dress touched the snow. She stood in front of Ian, who walked over and kissed her. You look beautiful, Ellie. Thank you, Ian. I'll work hard to make you the happiest man. Dear friends, we have come together for this special moment, Ron began. After the ceremony, they shared a kiss, and then Ian brought back a large box. Ellie, open it. Inside was a multi-tiered cake with a little figure on top. She rushed forward and kissed him again. You will always be my prince. Let's save the top tier for our anniversary and eat the rest now, he said. Soon, Ron packed up, saying, I have another commitment and don't want to be late. His parents added, We'll give you two some privacy. We'll see you later. I don't want to break my son if I stay. They laughed together. I'm glad you brought Ian back to life and me, his mom said. The newlyweds enjoyed their day, happy to be together. As night fell, Ellie said, Ian, I need to go to the bathroom. Can you help me like we used to? He looked surprised, but agreed. Okay, if that's what you want. Just kidding. I can handle it, my dear husband. She smiled and left the tent. 15 minutes later, she burst back in, her face full of joy. I didn't think this was possible, but you made me even happier. She held something close to his face that he couldn't see clearly. He frowned, trying to figure it out. What's going on, Ellie? He asked. This is a pregnancy test, and it's positive. I'm having a baby, and it's a girl. He hugged her tightly. That's amazing, but how do you know it'll be a girl? That's just how it should be. Her name will be Autumn because you saved me in the fall, she said with excitement. Every season can represent her life. You had this planned all along, didn't you? He marveled. Yes, and if we have more children, we'll name them based on the seasons. Each year will be a new adventure together. You will be a wonderful father. But you shouldn't spoil her. Well, maybe just a little. What if there are boys around? It's easy. There's Ogre, Turner, and Junior. Ogre is the first, Turner is the second, and Junior is the third. Got it? They are boys, and they always have funny names, right? I'm sure you think so too. They both chuckled at the memory. Not sure? Yes, of course. Now could you please take off these pants so I can show you my thanks? But I'll keep the top on because it's really cold here. Please warm me, my prince. Ogre! Hey, listeners! If you enjoyed watching this video and want to stay updated with our latest content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss out on what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video with Queen Cheating Tales.